So not this assignment, but this next one is the shaft support metric. Excellent. Shaft support, this one. I don't think I've even uploaded any imagery of my dimensions. I've got to them. I've got to the dimension point, but then I just have it. So I'll finish it out today and then I'll upload some imagery of it. But I do have this, I do have the file for this open somewhere maybe, or it's at least in my folders. Yeah, I should. I mean, the way I know I can test you guys is I would just give you something that I've drawn and then just have you guys dimension it and just see without any like that's a good test and you'll probably get one of those but but probably not for a couple more weeks. Yeah. And then it might be just try to give you something simpler like this that we're drawing in a few weeks and just be like, hey, just throw the dimensions on these and let's move on. But you'd have nothing to work from other than just the object. I think that's a great assignment I'm going to do. So I love your thinking. Thank you. No. I had actually thought of that. I've been wanting to implement more of that because it's easy to kind of copy and paste what I've drawn and even, or follow my videos and get them all accurately, which I think is what you need at this point in your career as a drafter. And then it's good to have like a blank slate and be like, well, now I've got to dimension this object that somebody else drew. Do I know what dimensions are needed? And that's a good test. And likely it'll be all over the map, right? Because it is hard to identify that. So my shaft support ISO is this one. So I'll use this as my reference. I got to use a metric template. So I just analyze this just a little bit. It's definitely got a lot of radius features going on. I do have one note that's been added. So there's three notes here. The two radii, the two R40 radii. So this here's the R40. They're the base radii. They're really small sections of a radius right here. Because then there's these long points of tangent to tangent. So I've got these radii, and then I've got lines that are tangent to tangent here. It just says that the two R40 radii on the base share the same center, which means this one here, and then the one is kind of, this is like front side surface, like actually the apex of where your eyeballs are is right on the apex of that radii actually. And then everything else kind of is falling away from your eye, but this is front view for sure. So the back view, they're talking about this radii back here, that and this share the same center, which means one like circle with a diameter of 80 would actually build both of those. And I'm probably going to start building that one. Well, I'll probably start in my front view because I am still going to choose this as my front view, looking at this. So like I said, there's not a lot of surface that's right on my front view. Everything is foreshortened in my front view for the most part. There are some diameters that I can pick up. I can already see that a great place to pick up a dimension for these will be the front view where they appear, like where this cylinder appears as a rectangle. It'll be a great place to at least pick the external dimension up, but probably not the internal because it'll appear as a hidden line in the front view. Anyway, these are just things I'm thinking, but the top view is going to be looking down on it. So I will see this surface in my top view, although my eyeballs are up here at the 12 o'clock of this little radius up here. But this will appear as a nice flat surface in my top view. And then my right side view will be this kind of this surface here with my eyeball out here on the very quadrant of this. So I really have a lot, like where my eyeball is there's not a lot of surface there. Everything falls away from me in the front view or in the right side view. However, this will kind of appear in its true length form in the right side view. These slopes that won't appear. This will all be foreshortened in top and front, but this line will be correct. And I love this little assignment because there's such a fine detail here that doesn't expose itself until you probably get to the right side view. And it's really where the transition happens between this curve and this plate. And this could definitely be almost like a three-piece scenario here, although I don't see any weld joints or anything, and there's no inner fillets here. So I don't know how this is also made. Yeah, for sure. But it does allow what it should like make me stop and think of. There's a lot of different contours to this part. That means that I'm going to probably have to consider, like I'd almost consider this as like three components, and I need to probably account for their size and location of these three components. So I definitely need to know, this base plate, its size and everything, and its contours, and then how it's located in relationship to these two parts, and then how that part and that part are maybe located. So those are probably going to be the extra dimensions that I'm going to have to add here is like helping like lock those in so I don't have to guess on if these are centered or not. I'm telling you right up front that it is all symmetrically centered. So if I can draw this piece, this base plate, then this part is totally centered over the top of it. And then this little, almost like another pipe part in that little cradle saddle is also centered in that. But I'm going to make sure I dimension that out so that it isn't so you can't misinterpret it. But I definitely need more dimensions than are shown here for those size and location reasons and how the parts like fit together. Okay, so let's start drawing. Um, got that radius. I'll probably just start with a build out box again. So I'm just going to look at the overalls. These are in millimeters now. So everything and yeah, so everything I punch in is going to be metric millimeters. And the overall, so if I'm looking at my front view width here, or my front view width, yes, is 100, but then it's 100 plus something, 100 plus these radiuses here. And it's the big outer radius, which is called out here. There's two of them that are 22 radius. So really, I view this as 100 plus 22 plus 22. So 144, really from like point to point, from left view to right view, is 144 wide. The height of it, let's just do some math here. It's 18 on the base plate here, 18 millimeters. And then we go up from there, 58 to the center of this. So this is top surface of plate. That's to the bottom. That's from the top surface of plate to the bottom there. I call plate a lot, or just it's not necessarily made out of metal, but I'll say plate a lot probably. But um, so 18 plus 58 plus whatever this radius is here to the outer. So that's half of 46 is 23. So this is a great place for a flipping calculator, right? I mean, you can do math. Riley's really good at it in his head, but it's 18 plus 58 plus 23 is what I come up with. So it's 99. I got 99 problems. I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not gonna repeat any more of that song, but Jay-Z, maybe? I don't know. I am not a hip hop artist, but I know a few. So one of my favorite Super Bowls was when Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50. I mean, that was a great Super Bowl performance. So, anyway, it was good. So, okay. 144 by 99 for height. Then my top view is going to be the diameter of those radii. So it's going to be 80. I feel like the depth of this part is 80. 80 by the shared 144. So I can at least get started with that. And that's really all I need to start probably knocking out the right side view too. So 144 by 99 and then 144 by 80. So let's do that on a metric template. So let me get out of this assignment and start a new one with my metric template. I have a metric ISU one. We should have already had it all formatted for this very reason, this very day. I'm in millimeters though, so just put that in your mind. And when you go into dimensioning, you got to remember the millimeter spacings for the dimensions. So I don't really need my dimension layer on yet, but I can turn on. Let's do the main box for that. We decided it's 144 by 99. That looks good. And then I'm going to make another one. It's orthographically aligned, F8 up. I'm getting to the points where I don't know what the equivalent of about 3 inches is, but that's probably about what I need. Maybe up to here. It's also 144 by 80 though, I feel like in this in the depth direction like that. Then I'll just jump over to my sheets and take a look at what I got to work with. It'll be half scale again. I think this one fits. All of these are half scale this week. There's some construction work. You'll think that one day I'm going to go in and fix my template dimensions and get rid of them, but I haven't yet. What are you saying? You can use either one. So it kind of falls in the same category to where I think it's going to have to be half scale to fit on A, but and even I think it could probably I don't know if I think it still can't fit full scaled on A3 as well. But I'm checking that right now. Kind of this is where I get my taste of what's going to fit. I mean I'm locked in at a 1-to-1. It's clearly not going to fit on a 1-to-1, so I've got to change this to a half scale. I could make a custom scale, and we'll start to do that too, just because I feel like I think I mentioned that it's a pretty big move to go from one to a half. I like to have more in between. This is close. Like my viewport has a lot more room that I could stretch it up. So I think I'll stick with this. I still have room top and bottom. I have plenty of room in between. So I like how this is going to fit on my A4 size. On my A3 size, you can still see even at 1-to-1, it's not going to fit with dimensions. So it's the one that truly could use a different scale between, but And I just get in the habit of pulling this down. You could center this in your thing. I'm always almost like when I fill up a sheet, I'm already planning to put more on this sheet because it'll fit more. So I'm like not center punching it into the sheet like I am on my A4. But that's a small detail, and we're really not adding anything to these anyway. I'm just kind of keeping track of. But I like this. This is good, and I'll probably end up with an A4 being my probably preferred on all these because it fills up the sheet better. But in real drafting, that A3 size sheet would be nicer because I'd be able to fit a bunch more parts on it. Because usually when you're breaking down part details, you're breaking down part details that are probably in close relationship in an assembly together on the same sheet. Because it's just the way something really would flow. If this was actually one part of 100 parts, I would probably start to bundle these on sheets where they were probably in like in the assembly, I can see how they're working together, and then on my sheets, I start to probably place them and break them out as details. What we're kind of creating is like part details, and upstream from this would have been maybe an assembly where all these fit, and then these are my part detail sheets, and I will fit multiple parts on detail sheets, especially if they are in close proximity in an assembly of each other. So it's kind of I've said that like the same way like 4 different times, but my whole reason of why I'm bundling like this is I'm planning on there being an assembly where I have additional part details going on here. Let's do this. And this is the one that this is my miter line now that needs to be 45. And so I'm definitely having that 45 grip help me because I don't have it toggled on right now, right? Like there's no 45 grip. So I'm going to make sure I don't even have my polar tracking on actually. So I'm going to put that on, make sure 45 selected. That's going to ensure that when I snap to that, it's going to be mathematically accurate. Like the computer is going to lock me in at 45.000. And the difference is if you don't have that snap, it's not as quite as helpful for you like that. That's where I want mine. And then you just cause like distortion in the true lengths down here in the right side view, which distortion in music is great to an extent. Distortion in right side views is very bad, but I've done it too. I should have checked this probably first. So these were totally orthographically aligned. I feel like they're looking good though. That looks good. And actually, yeah, that if you did have an error like that, like Lydia was working with today, I love it because it's actually a good thing. We all learn from it. It's really good. Even I do, but because I'm like I can't remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say something that was good that oh, it just makes me like it just shows you that having built like the way that we could kind of find out what was wrong is because I had so much construction work to work with, I could just kind of backtrack through it and be like, oh, that's where the error was. So it took us a little bit of needle in a haystack finding, but if I had just built those three independent views of each other, I wouldn't have that relationship that I was looking for between them to try to straighten them out. And so having built them like this, it just kind of helped me backtrack an error. And that's beneficial to me rather than just like pulling the eject button and being like, delete that freaking file, ticked me off. No, 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 no. Just like be patient, backtrack. I mean, it is a revision process, and you as a drafter will always be involved in a revision process. And so you just get used to working with what you have. It's always better to probably do that than to start from fresh a lot, even though sometimes that's days worth of trying to unbury an error. You'll get to the end and you'll feel like a champion, and it feels good. So it feels really bad to have made the error, but then when you fix it, oh, it feels good. So heck yes, this is where this is going to fit. So now I'm ready. I think I will start in the front view. It's maybe easier to start this in the top view. You might argue that, and I wouldn't stop you if you did. So I'll just kind of start in the front view, like painstakingly a little bit, because it'll be kind of awkward to start in the front view, but I think I still will. It's just that I've got this 18 millimeter, from left to right, it's 18 millimeters high, and all of these, like, well, they are like foreshortened in that view. It will look like a solid line, 18 millimeters up. So the base will look like a solid visible line, up 18 on the left side, up 18 on the right side, and then across, like this whole surface will appear as lines, just like a rectangle. And then from here, I've got like an 18 millimeter wide uh, this little vertical plate here. And so that'll be on center. That's something that probably needs to be located better on my drawing, but that'll be on center. And then it'll come up and then I'll just draw it up to clear to the top because I just don't exactly know how it terminates where these two surfaces start to blend together here. And so I'm going to at least take it all the way up to the rest of the height that I have to work with. And then I probably will put in this rectangular view of what that looks like, which will kind of be like a 46 millimeter diameter rectangle that's 40 millimeters wide. So I'm gonna draw that in. That's probably all I can do until I get hidden line work and maybe some more projection. So what I'm saying is this is 18. This comes all the way across down 18, and that's really the base plate is going to look like that in the front view, even though it's got all kinds of radiousness to it, if that's a word. I made it up. If it's not, I should patent it. Radiousness. And then it might be helpful to have a center line in this because everything's going to work off center. So I'm going to use my midpoint center grip to add a construction center line. And it's arguable that I could probably need this up top too. So maybe I'll just do kind of a projection of center lines there. But I'm going to work off of here. This is like 18. So it's like 9 over, and then it comes up. And that's the one I said I was going to just put in all the way up to the top and then fix how far it really goes later. But this thing is 18 millimeters across. I'm in the center point dragging over like 9, I think, to where that goes up and perpendicular, and then over 18, and then back down. And then I know that that's not exactly right because it's gonna blend into this other rectangle that I'm gonna put in, but just want to make, I felt like I clicked kind of funny here. I just want to make sure that is 9. It is okay. And then what would be on top would be I think we determined it's like 40 millimeters and then it goes down 46. So maybe I'll come over from here. Yeah, I think this is like I might omit this one line real quick because I'm just not going to do a double visible line on top of each other. I'm gonna draw this line as the top of the actual top. So I actually deleted that, and I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna cursor over 20 millimeter. Sorry, 20 millimeter. That's gonna put me over here to where I'm gonna draw this solid line as 40, and then I'm gonna go down 46, and then back into where it probably I'm gonna do this one all the way across as well. It's gonna be 40 and then back in. I can put C for close. That's always how you can close a polygon if you've done a line command. So that's this. This is technically kind of where that terminates. Like I know this is actually going to terminate somewhere in here. I just don't know exactly where it is. You might just like jump to think it's at the quadrant, but if I jump to think it's at the quadrant, maybe I'm not understanding. Like this is kind of on a slope. So this is like I do have a strict dimension that's 67 millimeters that this is across its base. And then it's like a tangent line that's going to be like sloped from that point up to tangent. Go ahead, David. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'll stop sharing. Yeah. See if did you, hopefully you had stuff saved or did it like, okay, okay. It's almost like, okay, okay. It's almost like it just booted you off like you've been here too long. I say, man.
Oh no.
This happens. I mean, sometimes you have a computer. I mean, we could all have a power surge right now, and then my crap would be lost too. So it's just save. It is like I've seen a lot of drafters with this sticky note across their screen that says save often. Because I've seen drafters work for 6 hours, and there. Oh, this is a great point to bring up. Now that you have a backup file, it's going to save backup files for you, right? You've seen them. I don't know if you know how to use them, so let's just talk through that while you're getting logged back in. But if I go to my folder where I've had some drawings that I've done, so like today I should have some backups for this starting because I think the program is set to kind of automatically save and it's saving to that backup file that isn't immediately usable unless you just change there are these backup files, right? Yeah. So let me go to my folder that I'm working in right now, which is week 5, and this particular drawing is my shaft support. And so I have a backup file right here. This is auto-generated from CAD, and I'm gonna expand this so I can see the full like file type. It's a .bak file, which doesn't like um, AutoCAD doesn't want to open that from a .bak. So what I have to do is I just change this, like do a manual change on this name. So I go to my backup files. They don't even look like that, they're blank looking like pieces of paper, like they're ready to be formatted. So if I just like slow click in here or right click and hit rename to where I get control of this, I'm gonna actually delete the BAK file and put in a .dwg. So I'm gonna make it call itself a .dwg, and then I'm just gonna and then it's gonna say if you change a file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Well, yeah, I need to use it now. It's like a backup file that was ready for this moment. This is its chance to shine. So I'm gonna say yes. Do you want to rename this? There's already a file. Yeah, so maybe I'll say if I get this error, maybe I will just make it add something like that. It already added number two to it, so I like that. I just said, yeah, name it something different so I can kind of identify. I might end up deleting my other one that is maybe corrupt or I've lost it. But see, now it changed it to where something AutoCAD can now open this. As long as you add AutoCAD on your computer, it will now recognize that you just changed the file type from a .bak to a something that CAD will load. And now this is kind of maybe save your bacon on some things. It'll at least prevent it wouldn't it probably if the surge happens, there's probably still data lost that but these .bak files are kind of helpful. AutoCAD is just I think creating one for you. Um, I think I said the default for in Revit is like 5, and that annoys the crap. I mean, you can switch that to 2, but the reason why you might have more than one is for that very reason. It's just telling you once you change this, it can't be undone. So sometimes it's not. I like that Revit has. I don't like 5, but I like 2 backup files. That way, I have one. If I jack up doing what I'm doing now, I at least have another. I have a backup of a backup. So CAD, I think, is default to just give you one. And you'll probably see that in all your folders. Probably there's one backup for every drawing you have and every template file. So they're handy. You just got to reformat them and then you can use them. And now this one will confuse me, but I'll leave it in there. It's okay. It was a good point to make that you do have there is some recovery that's building because you don't want, I mean, like, yeah, you can lose hours and hours of work and hopefully get paid by the hour. Because it's like, well, I get paid by the hour. If you're salary based, dang it. Coming in overtime for nothing. This is all I'm going to do of this. I know I've got hidden line work to do. I'm going to start projecting up. This one is 40 millimeter wide by 46 diameter. That's what that is this feature, but in its rectangular view. So it's 40 by 46 from the top view down. That means I should be like that 58 from the top up. I mean, I can do some checks with that. Like sometimes it's helpful to do a few checks before you start projecting things that are inaccurate. Like that means I should be able to measure this distance as 58 to the center down to this plate right here. 58. So that's a good check. That seems like I've placed it correctly. And now I'm going to project up. Pretty much all those, I'm going to project these over and across here. I think I'll even project these. These will become hidden lines underneath here. So I'll see them and then they'll kind of like dive underneath the part. So this particular vertical plate here, or vertical part that's 18 millimeters wide, it will be kind of hidden. I'll see some of it and then I'll see some hidden of it below that cylinder that's kind of up towards my face here. And then I might need to know the middle point of this across just as a reference. I feel like I put those in more often than not on that top view. Because what I want to build here is I want to build out the base. And really there's nothing to project other than the overall dimensions of the base. So I'm going to build it with some visible line work and a circle. So it's 80 or 40 radius, which is what I should be able to just almost pull this like that. That's out to 40 like that. Yeah, go ahead. Which one? This one? This one. This one. How far? Well, like you mean this one right here? Oh, well, I've projected it up. It's 40 across, 40 millimeter on that right to here. Oh yeah, that's me looking at this saying this is 18 millimeter on center. Like it's not clear. This is one thing I'm going to clarify on my dimensioning that could be misinterpreted to say because there is no placement of this on this base plate to know if I'm centered. But I kind of said early on this is all centered over itself. So this 18 is like 9 millimeter on each side of center. So when I came right here, oh well, it's just it's the difference of 18 to 40 and then split in half. See, like that's not clear either. That's why I've got to include some dimensions when I get to my dimensioning phase, because it is the same from this surface to this surface as it would be from the left side surface to the left side of this. So it is centered over this. Yeah. And so it's like 40 and 18, and you subtract those two and you get what? You get like, yeah, 22, and then half that's 11. So technically this is like from here to here is 11 millimeter. And so I can check that now that I understand what you're saying. Oh, that's good. Yeah, sometimes I jump into stuff because I can visualize it. That doesn't mean you can. It's actually 11 there. My thing shows it. I didn't draw by 11. I actually drew by centered over like 40 centered over a center line and then down 46. So I drew this kind of from center. You didn't see me, but I came in here and I drew that center line in. So I had a midpoint here. And then I cursored over 20 and then I clicked and then I went back 40, down 46, back 40. That sounds like I'm calling a football play. Up 40, back 40, 46, go. And then I closed that. So that's actually how I drew that. It's 40 by 46 on center, flush with the top surface, but on center. Yeah, that's good. Sure, you can do whatever you want. Heck yes. As long as we get to the bottom of the hill, as long as I'm not waiting for you for 2 hours to go up the ski hill again, right? Like that's all that matters. Yeah, you do not have to draw. I mean, I will repeat that over and over. You do not have to draw. The way I see geometry is not necessarily the way you see geometry, right? So there's always two, and I'm never gonna. I mean, I can't. That would be me looking over your shoulder and being like, "Don't click that, click this, don't click that, click this." I'm not a micromanager like that because I'm just like, how you visualize geometry, use it to your advantage. And then if there's some things that I can help with, I will. And then because I think as you watch me draw, there might be things where you're like, "Oh, I could do that." But if I were to watch you draw, I'd probably be like, "Hell, that's a pretty good idea." So don't shortchange yourself. Everybody has good visualization. And then what I need is the outer radius is here, right? Like I've got like what I need is this. This is the 40 radius. That's probably the only thing that's going to show is a little bit of it. And then it's going to go like a line that's tangent to another radius down here. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to and maybe I'll do a mirror on it. I can already see that maybe I'm going to draw one half of this and just mirror it across the other side. So I'm already looking into maybe a mirror command and maybe finishing the visible work that I could mirror over. Maybe just the plate specific, but I really could get pretty detailed and do maybe all of the parts in this 3D view that I'm looking at down on. Maybe I could do it all and mirror it over. I think I'll just focus on the base plate and mirror it and maybe do but feel free to do more mirroring if you want and you can visualize it. I'll just start with the base plate mirror. And what I'm going to do is I need to know what the radius is out here so I can do a line that's tangent to two surfaces here. So I'm gonna draw in. I probably need to come over and find out where the center is. So I'm gonna look at my drawing. I'm gonna say, where is the center of this arc over? Well, it's this radius of this arc. So it's 22. So I think I'm going to come over to the center line and cursor over 22 and then draw an arc. Or maybe I've got to drop a line. Like circles don't like you to cursor over. They just want you to place the center point. And I'm not going to place my coordinates or anything. I think I'm just going to draw a mini line for a moment line. And I might even just draw that. This is just like a temporary line. Like I could draw a construction line, but what I'm going to do is draw like over 22 millimeter. And that's where the center of the next arc is. I'm probably not going to leave this visible line. I'm going to use it strategically to say, here's my center. This is a 22 millimeter radius arc. And that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be, I need a line that's tangent to those, and I need to trim all the rest out. And I need a line down here. So this I just used to place my circle. And in this case, I'm probably going to delete it. You got to be careful. I could move that to another layer that I'm not turning off, or I could move it to a construction layer and leave it. Maybe I'll do that because I'm gonna practice what I preach here, and don't delete your construction work. Maybe I'll just push it that little segmented line to, I don't even know if yeah, I got it. I got it pushed. There's a little line over a line, but it's construction line work. I'm happy with that. That's what I use to place my center. It's 22 because it is the radius of the circle. It's the radius, yeah. So I went over from center 22. Yeah, that's me looking at this, saying that is 22 over because that it has to be. Yep. And then I need a line that's going to be tangent to tangent. So I'm gonna shift select, hold down shift, right click, and pick tangent only as my only O snap. And I'm gonna say that one, O snap to this one over here. But I'm gonna do shift, right click, and just pick tangent as my only option. And that's gonna lock that into that's gonna lock that in. And maybe I'll just lazily mirror that across this line here instead of having to do redraw it. There we go. And now we'll do some trim. Sometimes when I trim, I actually like turn off stuff, but I think I'll leave some of it on and I'll just do trim. And I want these trimmed out. You can just draw a line across this stuff, right? Like you can just like trace a line that trims. That looks cool. And I'm actually going to trim this half of it too, because um, technically there's a little bit here. I got to be careful there. There's a trim that's going to happen. I'm actually going to, so I think I told you I was just going to mirror this across. I'm going to get rid of this other half of this. So I'm only taking it over to the center line like that, and I'm going to get rid of this little whisker there. Now that feels like a good base part that I could mirror across, but maybe I'll put the hole in it. The hole is shares the same. That's super not clear either, but it will be more clear when I dimension that this hole is definitely concentric to the outer radius. It's not clear. I'm telling you that it is though. I should have maybe one more note that says the two through holes that are 15 in diameter are on the same center as the 22 radius. Like this could use a fourth note, I really feel, just to tell myself that these are actually concentric, this radius and that hole. They are, so I'm going to draw it that way, but it's not clear.
Well, can't you do the math?
You probably could, yeah, because I got 100 and then I got 22. Totally. You're right. I like that, Sky. Like there is, the data is here to say, as long as I know the 100 is centered, which is still a little unclear, as long as I know the 100 is based off of maybe a center line and out to those holes, then I can make that assumption. But there is still a little bit saying, well, is the 100 measurement taken from center? And so really, if you were really to analyze this, you'd say in order to locate a hole like that, which center to center on hole locations is a great dimension because it's really the most critical probably of a relationship between two holes that are maybe on the same axis. And I was talking to Nathan about that yesterday, that really I love center to center dimensions when it comes to holes, but sometimes I need in reference to what. And so really to correct this would be have a center mark or a center line on my, and then say it's 50 over or whatever, right? It's like, I would want the correct way to do this would be it's 50 from center over, and then they share 100. And then I kind of lock into knowing that it's centered. Right now, it's still a little unclear. There is some ambiguity here, even though probably you're like, I see it. What's the deal? It's like, actually, technically, if I really get technical with it, there's some ambiguity here that what needs to be clarified. Usually from a center line. If I think of like, if something is ambiguous, the red flag that comes in my head is probably I need to locate it from a center line somewhere, or I need to locate it in relationship to another surface feature. But anyway, yeah. But that's me thinking about from experience that I've had issues not clearly defining stuff in my life. Yeah. Life stories. Let's draw. I don't remember what I was doing. Totally lost now. Wait. I know. I'm going back to the mirror. I just need to put that diameter 15 diameter on the same. So this little thing is going to serve me well here because I'm going to use it for this 15 diameter, which is a 7.5 radius. And now that's kind of a finished base part that I could mirror over if I just focus on just the base part and worry. I could do more drawing and mirror it all together, but maybe I'll just mirror these. I could join these if it makes it easier and mirror them over. Remember, we could use the join command. I could join this to this to this. This is what my machine input likes, but oh, and then I actually recognize I have an error here. I need to trim this out. So actually, this was good for me to think of that, and I would have missed that little whisker of a arc that was left over. Now I might join it. Not totally required, but because I'm not a 2D view here, I'm actually 3D. And then now I've got a single selection though for a mirror. That's great. Mirror. single selection, that one too, take them across this plane. Don't erase anything. There, I could join that as one, but it's not as necessary because I remember I'm in a 3D view. I'm not a 2D view. So let's put the cylinder here. It's this little part, right? Um, and the other thing I have is that this doesn't go clear out to the edge. It actually, let me analyze this from the top view. See, I do have a little of that radius shown exposed here. That's because it's 67 millimeters across, and that's on center. So each half of that would be like what? 33 and a half millimeters from center to that, and from center to that, and then 18, and then back over. So I'm gonna draw both those in. I think I probably have the projection work I need. I could use some offset lines if I want. I could offset this line like for the top, it's 46 millimeters, so I could offset this by 23 millimeters. And then if I offset this line, that's how wide. And I probably have all I need now to kind of trace. I'm looking, it still looks like a rectangle because I'm not going to see that as a cylinder until it's in the right side view. So I'm going to draw the other, this is the front view, what that looks like. I'm going to draw what it looks like here, which is like 46 by 40 on visible line, which I now have a grid pattern that I can just trace. This is going to be 40 by 46 by 40 by 46. So that's kind of what that would look like. And then it would have those little plates that come over and out from underneath it. This is where they would expose themselves. They'll be hidden here. So I'll be able to trace this with hidden line later. And then it comes out to where it exposes a little bit. And what that is what I decided it's 67 across the center. So it's like, what I say, 33 and a half. It's kind of confusing, but what it looks like is this. I'm going to say this thing comes over like 33 and a half. That's where that little plate would come across like that. And then I might just mirror that over the other line. Instead of having to measure it out, I can just mirror that thing across if I'm happy with it. Say no. And then the only part that'll be visible will be where that touches that first cylinder that I drew, like this. That's kind of in my top view, that's definitely a foreshortened surface. And it just jets out. I'll turn off my construction line in just a minute. I'll show you, but I'm gonna trace over this because that grid pattern is 18 millimeters wide, like that. When I turn this off, we should probably be pretty close to done finished work, done visible work, that should say. There's hidden stuff going on. There's an inner bore to that. This is not a rectangle. It's definitely a round part, and there will be an inner bore that'll have hidden lines. I'll pick those up from projection from the right side view, but I'm ready to take this information across and around to the right side view. I haven't really defined how that fits, and in fact, this is going to be trimmed out. One thing I can do here, looking at this, is this will be trimmed like that. I definitely can see that. I just haven't established the height of these whatsoever. I have just pulled them up, probably to the, I don't know what, nothing, a total arbitrary length here. I know that what I'm going to get is I'm going to get the data from the right side view to really lock it in. And I'll show you when we do that. Let's do some projections to the right side. Well, I didn't really measure it as how far this is. What I did measure is that it's from center, like from the only dimension I have on my drawing is that from here to here is 67, and that has to be centered over this center line. So really, I located where that was by saying I'm going to go back to center and I'm going to go 33 and a half out to that edge and then across that. So I placed that from the center over and half the distance of 67. That's how I figured that out because there is no clear like this dimension isn't given at all. It's a foreshortened dimension of that. Like this dimension, while it looks like a nice dimension that I could put in my top view, it really would make zero sense to anybody because it's this huge surface, but it looks from the top down, it's actually such a short little piece that it's totally foreshortened. So I used from center out to locate where those points were. Center line, center out, help me locate that. Yeah. You'll do that a lot of stuff by center and not necessarily from an outside edge. Think centers, everything has a center of sorts. Get yourself centered. You can't do anything if you're not. All right, let's project. construction layer. I'm not going to probably finish dimensioning. That's okay. At least I'll finish. Let's let's have a goal of at least finishing the orthographic. And tomorrow morning when I come in, I can finish dimension this one. And I'll post up the dimensions by later today though, and this video and stuff. And then I'll probably finish dimension it tomorrow morning and then jump into the next one. And we can probably finish the next one close to. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I think this one's a little trickier than I can't remember what the last one is. Slider block. No, it has some tricks to it too. So I'm going to project some of this over though. If my goal is in like 10 minutes to finish this, I don't know if I can do it in 10, but if you got to take off when you have to. This video will be posted once I finish it. And see, I kind of systematically drag down. See, I'm already thinking that I'm just projecting those features. They kind of relate to each other. So that's what I projected over. Now I'm going to maybe project over this data here, which I can just pick up this. That was offset line. And so now I'm picking up both sides of the cylinder. They could end up here somewhere, but I don't know. I'm just going to drag them down. Make a big grid. This one here, this one to there to down. And then really I need maybe that's all I need right now. This I need some overs from the front view. Drag that over like that. Maybe I'll drag down this one. I don't know if I really need that though so much. Could use it for alignment. Yeah, I'll pull it over. I could definitely use it just to draw my circle probably pretty easy. And then there's going to be more data coming over. That's a pretty good start. I can start drawing the base plate. It kind of is like this. It'll almost just look like I traced that in and around, even though it's got a bunch of radius features to it. If I'm looking at it here, it definitely is just going to look like a line across.
Did you, when you made the top view, did you assume that the little ribs or whatever were connecting at the quadrant points of the circle or tangent?
Oh, tangent, not quadrants. You're right. You're talking my lines to the radiuses here, right? The outer shape.
No.
Oh, okay.
So like the shaft holder.
Yeah.
Like where the
Through hole is. Mm-hmm.
So that has a cylindrical body.
Yeah.
And then the flange, whatever that connects it to the base.
Did you think you came up to some point? Yeah.
Well, did you come up to the quadrant or up to?
Right now, I haven't decided that yet. That's still ambiguous. I'm going to lock it in right now, though. Nope, I haven't done it yet. So it's going to define itself in this view. This is the only view it's going to define itself in. And it's not going to be either or. That's the cool thing about this. Technically, to get that tangent slope, it's going to be not on quadrant. And so let's see why that is. So let's make sense out of what I've got going on here. I'm gonna draw the plate in on the bottom. So that's gonna be this from here down, it's 18, across it's that 80, and up 18. And so this is gonna be kind of the base plate. It's just gonna look like a rectangle there. So that's good. And then what I have coming around, if I just pay attention, this one that I located that by coming half a 67 out there, and then I projected it around. That is where that line slopes up and will become tangent to this circle here. So I think instead of drawing a line that I don't have anything to go tangent to, I need the circles up here. So really I can come down. I could have used, a construction line. I could do this a number of different ways, but I may need a construction line that's on center here would maybe help, but I could also just put in I could anyway, I could do this a number of ways. Maybe I will say I don't have a center line here is what I don't have. I don't have a midpoint here to grip. It's just the way I pulled my line clear over. There is no midpoint right here to grip. There is on the bottom because I drew a visible line over the top of here. So the midpoint I'm gripping here is actually I'm going to use that to establish maybe this. And then from there down I need to make a circle. That's one of them's 46 in diameter, and the other one has an inner bore, which I'll see them both as visible lines here. So, yeah, a number of different ways. I think I might just go down from here with another line that is 23. That's where the circle center would be, which now I'm ready to draw. This circle center should be 46 in diameter or 23 radius, like that. It looks good. All my projection lines are kind of matching up with the length that I saw up here. And then it's got the inner bore. I can put that in now. We haven't drawn that yet, but the inner bore has a different diameter. It's 30, so it'd be like a 15 radius here for this inner bore. So let me put that in. This is the only place I would see it that wouldn't be hidden. Same center. 15 is what I said. Yeah, it's a 30 like that. So now what I have is I have a place to go tangent and I have a point of where my plate stopped. So from that point up to here is going to be a line that's tangent to that circle. And you'll find that it's not going to be on the quadrant here. So let's do this. It's going to be like a point here. I've got a line command. I'm going down to where that starts. And then it's going to go up here and I'm going to shift select tangent, and then I'm going to snap it to that. And you can see here, this is why I like this, because this is one that I always check on people's drawings if they really got that geometry. It's such a fine detail, but it's above. If I were to draw a line off center here, I think if I can get the line command to turn on here from center over, you can see that the tangent is way above the quadrant actually, right? It actually would have more material than just to the quadrant. So that's my proof of that right there. And what that allows you to do is now define, I'm going to do the other side that way, or I could mirror that across. Since I've drawn that line, I'm just going to mirror this one, mirror this across the center line that I drew. No, so there's my 2 points that would line up. What I'm going to do is I can drag those over to the right side view now. I don't think I've totally finished this, but I'm getting close. Like if I toggle this off, my uh, my front view is my right side view is probably pretty close to being done. Minus the hole that I need to project the hole and do some visible or hidden line work now, but so I'm getting close to being into the hidden line work. What I need to do is determine how tall these end up, and this is the point that they come across. I'm going to find where this point of tangency was and project it across the grid and then pull those lines to that, and that's where those would terminate. So I can also pull them back to the top view and determine how that terminates here, because really this is going to be trimmed out and it's going to be trimmed out. Maybe these aren't going to look like that. Maybe they're going to come up a little bit higher, I think, based off of how it looked here. So let's project those across. It's a fine detail. It's the part I love about this, attention to detail. And I'm going to make this construction line work. So I'm going to zoom in here to where that end point of that line is, which is right there, right? I got a line command. I'm looking for kind of an end point or an intersection point. It looks like I'm picking up a intersection point. If I wanted to pick up an end point, I could choose end point and it has one there. That's good. Intersection point can be a little misleading, but it would have worked for me. I'm going to drag this one clear across. I don't necessarily need it clear across, but I need to know where those terminate. See, I was taking a guess. They need to go up to that line, so I can just extend them. Extend those like that, extend that one like that. Did it even look like it did it? I don't know if it did it. So it's so hard to tell. Let's see. Yeah, turn it off, please. Oh, I can't turn it off. I need to have it on. Yeah, I thought that it extended, but it doesn't look like it extended. That's kind of annoying to me. Oh, it extended it clear up. I don't know what that did. Why'd that do that? Maybe I'm looking at my grid one. I don't know what I'm looking at here. I don't know what this is. I might just redraw this just to make sure that I'm not getting something weird. From this one down. Just making sure that that extended right. It was kind of weird how I think that I don't know what I think I think something I trimmed here got kind of weird. But that's okay. I'm going to redraw this from this new projection down. Yeah, that's a little correction on mine. That looks better, I think. Now I'm going to project that up and around to the top view. That teeny little point, the same point there, is going to come up. So close to that other line. Just keep track of it. Zoom way in. There it is. And then it comes across. And that's where that one will terminate there. See, it's a little bit longer than it shows. That's just a small, small detail. I love it. From an architectural standpoint, just envision that you are doing this finished trim work inside a house, super detailed. If you ever go to a building that has really good finished trim work. But anyway, this one I'm going to extend up to that line here. So I feel like I should be able to use the extend command on this. See, it's going to just clip that in a little bit longer. This is going to clip in a little bit longer. This is going to get trimmed out now. And that's actually how that would look now. And I got to do the same thing on this end. It's a really, really small detail down here to this end point right there. Bring it up and around. Yeah, right there. Then bring it across. Careful. And then extend these is what I'm going to use as my extend. Perfect there. On the other side, right there. Trim out what's left. And the other thing I'll do this afternoon is I'll turn on the quiz again too. I haven't previewed the quiz to make sure it's working for chapter 10. Is that what we're working on? Yeah. And so I'm going to turn this off and just take a look. I've got to do all my visible line work. I know I ran out of time. If you want to keep hanging out with me, you will, because I want to finish. I just want to finish my hidden line work and finish my, I'm missing a part there for some reason. I never drew that in. Should go from here to there. Oh, I don't know what I did. Put it on the construction layer. Back up, back up. Control Z.
What line did you just extend?
That is kind of where that surface was. Yeah, that is such a small detail. If I zoom out, you can't even tell that that's happening. But what that is I have projected this point. That point of tangency is like right there. I projected that up. It was really close to like the outer yeah, they're really close. And then I projected that up and around. And then it made me extend those just ever so slightly because technically I'm not hitting a quadrant. Really, what you would see looking top down at a cylinder is you'll see the quadrants. I mean, you'll see that's the two edges of a cylinder. You're going to see those quadrants. And technically this surface extends beyond the quadrant a little bit. So I would pick up a visual like this. Really small detail there. And this one would be just slightly higher than quadrant, and then it would kind of just blend into the other surface, just kind of like it looks here. Like it just blends in and becomes one. So yeah, that's confusing, but that's just kind of the way it looks in your top view. It's not we do objects like this that have those fine details, and I actually really like them for that very reason. Really hard to get that right if you're not using orthographic projection, actually. So it's probably nearly impossible. So anyway. I did do a little redraw. It was just because I had a weird like overlapping of lines here that I just wanted to make sure I was at the right. They weren't extending exactly right. It was just weird to me. I just wanted to make sure on the side that they went up to that projection point over. So and so once I had that across, I actually just redrew them down to here. But it was just because my extend wasn't working how I wanted it to do. So. And it's because I had put those in as just some random length lines. I think I'd originally like taken it all the way up and then I'd maybe trimmed them at one point. So they're acting kind of weird to me. It was just my case. It may not have been bad for you, but
Now, like if I extend those lines, now they're just.
a little piece. Yeah, just redraw them. Like you now have the grid work you need to like redraw that. I mean, I think I already had an underlying grid. If I turn off my visible line here, if I turn off my visible layer, turn the currently off. Yeah, see my grids, when I did my trim command and stuff, it like trimmed my grid out. So technically what I would have liked to still have is these just extending where they used to be when I originally drew. Anyway, I could just tell that when I did some of my trims, it trimmed some of my I trimmed some of my construction work, but anyway, it's there, it's still 18 millimeter wide on center. And so I feel happy with my projection there. Item turn on, please. There we go. I need to do more projection. I need to worry about these holes. These are one things I'm worried about. They're on the same projection plane, so I'm just gonna pull them from this quadrant over and define my hidden line work across in the base plate area here. Yeah. That's going to be hidden line work there. If I think about what's going to be hidden over here, is this one's going to come across, and this is going to be hidden line there through that. I could pull it all the way across, but If it confuses you to pull it all the way across, go ahead and terminate it wherever you want. See, I'm pulling this across. It'll be the inner bore that's hidden there. And it'll be hidden in the top view as well. So I'm going to repeat that same, these quadrants are going to come up and around. And they're going to be hidden lines across that. I'll just pull them through. I'm going to trace over those areas with hidden line work here. Just have to trace it. This is my inner bore. I just got to kind of keep track of which line's which one. This one, you could toggle on a different color if you wanted to. You could pick a slightly different color or something, but that one there I like. And then this one here is that inner bore. Let's do the one that's down here, coming across there to there. And from here to here. And then the hole is right here. I think so. And anything else? Yeah, this would be hidden here. There would be this, I think I mentioned that the little saddle that it sits in, the plate that comes up at me, where it dives underneath, kind of picks up from that little whisker of a line that I have. It would be hidden from there out. Like I wouldn't see it like that, I think. So I'm going to zoom in on that one and draw it down to the other one here. So now let me look at everything without the construction line work. You'll notice I'm going to definitely have to change the line type scale. It's like a solid line. It's such a fine line. Hidden to in a metric is just a hard one to see on your print. It looks solid. And then we just need some center lines on this thing. Oh, I need to project those down. I forgot one. Forgot to project down to the front view, the holes, right? These ones got to come down. I should see them here. And again here. There's a hole, right? Yeah, that's the hole. These help me just establish my center lines too. I tend to do this first because a lot of these times where I have center like hidden lines is just where I'm going to be able to offset or use my center line command and put in the center lines pretty quickly, and they'll be roughly the shape that I need, right? So let's do that. Center layer now. I feel like I'm ready for center layer. I'm ready for the center lines and marks. I think I'll just turn off the construction layer so it doesn't confuse the heck out of me like that, and then start putting in my center lines. So this is nice. This is a through bore here. So I need a center line between those two. Or I use the inner ones because the outer ones are these short little segments, and they'll put in a funky little shaped line, right? It'll be really short, which I'll have to draw. So I'm strategically using the last one I just drew as the one, and these are 1/4 inch extensions, but what is the equivalent in metric for 1/4 inch extensions? You'll get it memorized. You'll just know this. The 6 mm. So this is 6 mm extensions now in a metric for center lines and center mark extensions, 6 mm. That's the equivalence of 1/4 inch. Just 6. Yeah, if you actually did crunch the numbers really hard, it would be 6 and some change. Metric people like to keep their millimeters just whole millimeters for the I mean, unless if the dimension has to be really accurate, then we got to go to decimal millimeters, but which our prints should be that way. Or, we'll hold our dimensionings out to at least 2 decimal places like we programmed our dimension style. But in this case, we're going to just round it to, yeah, like 6 mm, how far these extend. It's how far my dimensions can be away, but that first dimension, that the first intermediate dimension away will be 10 mm away. That's the equivalent of 3/8 of an inch. So you start to memorize it. When I'm in an inch template, I'm doing things at 3/8 and 1/4 inch a lot. When I come into a metric template, I'm doing a lot of things at 6 mm and 10 mm. And then I just need to keep clicking through all these and kind of do the same thing. So I'm probably just going to click away here on all of these marks, and then I'm just going to use the match properties. For the one that I did extend, I'm gonna use it to match all these properties. So this one gets one. You get a center line. You get a, I feel like Oprah giving away free stuff here. Everyone gets a center line. Match the properties. This one I did use and extended it, so I'll just click it as my source. These ones need to be extended to 6 millimeters. So I'll click through those. Great. I need a center mark, obviously. So I'll put on a center mark here to the outer radius, the biggest one. And then I'll go in and push those extensions out to 6 millimeters too. How fast are you on your 10 keypad? Hopefully you're getting quick on your 10 keypad, unless you guys are using those weird numbers across the top of the keyboard. Who would use those? I don't know. Sure wouldn't be me. I use that 10 keypad, but a little faster typing pad for your data input. Okay. Do we like this? Yeah, except for we just need to now determine where, oh, I got center marks here too. Oh, and then I get this I definitely get some real close to some center line alignment. So I think I'm going to pull those together. I can tell what I'm already going to do is I'm going to maybe first I want the properties that I applied to this one, which is the 6 millimeter extension. I'm going to apply that to these center marks. So at least I'm covering my bases there. And I might even say, should this be out to the other radius? And that's a pretty good point. Like I could have picked, I don't know what I did on my last time I drew this, but it might have been a better selection to say, instead of this center mark, would it be better with this center mark? I think yes. I think I like this center mark better than that one. And then I can actually eliminate this one likely. Watch, what I'm gonna do is actually delete this one. And I'm going to pull these across and kind of show this through this horizontal alignment through this part. So I'm going to place the center mark on this radius. It's arguable as if I need one here, like technically there's this arc here that could be a big center line, and this is not bad either. Like this might be, I might add that like that actually. It's just the lower radius center mark. And so now I get this kind of like a hatch pattern like this, or a crossing pattern like this. I'm gonna kick these out to 6. I'm gonna match those properties to my other ones. So I'm gonna match these properties. This gets a little bit redundant. There's like a center mark over a center mark. Maybe I could clean this up a little bit and pull these back to maybe just the center and say, you could modify these a number of different ways. I don't feel like there's a right or wrong way here. Maybe I'm just going to do something like this. It's almost like if I'm doing all that, I could say, well, maybe I don't want a center mark here. I'm going to use these two as my, you've seen me pull these middle grips to like a midpoint like this and leave the extension as the extension. And then maybe I'm just going to put in a center line. Instead of having so much overlapping, I just need to pull these out 6 millimeter though. Beyond, yeah. And then things might change a little bit when we actually go to dimension and use those center lines. So I maybe like this pattern the best as far as like vertical and horizontal alignment, because now I have I can dimension to these, and that's what's going to help me locate, maybe out from the edge and then over to, like, I have a lot of places I can add dimensions that are going to help me like clearly communicate that these parts are all in like centered over the top of each other in alignment when I'm looking top down. Great places to dimension here for a lot of that. Here I get my height dimensions. I think I'm going to lean on. Here's going to be some diameter. Well, technically I'm going to probably do the inner bore diameter here, and I'm probably going to do the outer bore diameter here. It's arguable. It's like, well, should I bundle and save and do them both here? Yeah, you could have me there. Technically, this is the rectangular view of the outer diameter, so maybe this is the preferred place to put the outer diameter in the rectangular view. The inner one I'm bound to doing there. The holes are going to be here. The radiuses are all going to be here. So when I don't think I've finished dimensioning this, but I'm going to pull up the document I have. I can't remember which one. I need to save my one because I haven't, but I'm about ready to end this video, and I'll definitely have a part 2 for this. This is kind of a long video. It's over an hour and 20 minutes or something. But the part 2 will be actually dimensioning it. So what I was going to show you is that I do have one of these that I've built. I just don't think I've totally finished dimensioning it yet, and I'm kind of playing with the dimensions, but it's roughly like this. don't hold me to this yet. I still have some spacings to adjust, but I'll jump into the viewport to take a look at these dimensions. But roughly, in my next video, part 2, I'll head into this land, and it might be just slightly refined from here. But I will stop this video here. I will stop talking today. I've already talked